Have you ever heard the phrase, to run around like a headless chicken? It usually infers that someone is panicking or carelessly rushing around. The analogy to a decapitated fowl is based on the fact that chickens have been known to run around for a short while after they've had their heads cut off, sometimes up to 15 minutes. One bird, however, defied all the odds and walked around for 18 months after losing his head. This is the unbelievable story of Mike the Headless Chicken. The Cut. Mike's story begins on a farm in Fruita, Colorado in September 1945. Not long after the conclusion of World War II, a family of farmers were preparing a batch of 40 to 50 chickens for market. Lloyd Olson and his wife Clara worked as a team to get the task done. Lloyd decapitated the birds whilst Clara plucked and cleaned them. At day's end, the pair noticed something rather strange was happening with one of the roosters. It was still walking around without a head. A chicken's spinal cord can continue to send signals via the nervous system for a short while after decapitation, leading to reflexive movements that can cause the bird's legs to start moving. However, the fact that Mike, who was an American breed of chicken called a Wyandotte, was still up and running hours after losing his head was somewhat confusing. The Olsons decided to move Mike to their porch and placed him in a box. The road to fame. The next morning, when the Olsons saw that Mike was still very much alive and kicking, they decided to care for the bird and see how long he could live. They took him with them when they went to sell the rest of the chicken carcasses at the market. For a bit of fun, Lloyd started betting people he had a living headless chicken in his wagon. Word soon spread of the miraculous Mike, and it didn't take much time at all for the local press to come knocking. Within a couple of weeks, a sideshow promoter by the name of Hope Wade traveled hundreds of miles from Utah to visit the Olson farm. He convinced them that Mike could earn a pretty penny if they traveled the country showing him off. The opportunity to earn a quick buck or two was understandably alluring for the struggling farmers, and they agreed to hit the road. Science explains the marvel. Before the masses could gawk at the bizarre sight of a living headless chicken, Mike was taken to the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. There, scientists explained the reasons behind Mike's continued existence. The majority of a chicken's brain is actually in the back of its skull, behind the eyes, so whilst Lloyd chopped off most of Mike's head, including his beak, eyes, and an ear, most of Mike's brain was left intact and continued to control vital bodily functions, such as breathing and digestion. A fortunate blood clot prevented him from bleeding to death. All in all, Mike was one lucky chicken.